Welcome everybody, my name is EruptionFang and this is episode 4 of Genlock titled Training Daze. So as the title implies, our characters are training in their holons to get a better handle on things, and we learn a lot more about them and their caveats. First and foremost, the brain. Seems like common sense, don't let anything happen to it. Seems pretty straightforward. I will add, I wasn't sure if he was talking about their human brain or their robot brain, if they even have brains. I'll get back to that later in the episode. Number 2, there is a specific amount of time that each of them can be inside of Genlock. If they're in it too long, their neural image will change too much and they won't be able to go back. I'd assume that can work both ways. You can get stuck inside the holon or you could get locked out. 3, they can enhance their movement and reaction time by overclocking, but this will eat up their uplink time. 4, telepathy, sort of. Share a mind, share the eyes, share everything. That's a bit questionable. And finally, for now, you can become too old for the program. A lot of theories arise from this information. Last episode I was talking about Weller and his likelihood of being Genlock compatible, which I personally believe is still high. But the age rule really throws a wrench into ever possibly seeing him in the present Control one. Not that it's impossible, I mind you, just extremely dangerous. And it's for that exact same reason that Leon has some death flags on him right now. It seemed a little too on the nose to bring up that he was just out of the age range. I think they are going to have him control Sinclair's. Whether or not he die is a different answer. In terms of spending too much time inside of Genlock and changing your neural image and not being able to re-download, I don't know why, but my brain immediately went to Caliban, Weller's robot dude. He's hardly had any screen time, not even really a side character, but for whatever reason, after hearing that you can be locked inside and or out of your body, Caliban to me popped into mind. Once again, no proof, no evidence, just a theory. Cut to Chase and Miranda's subplot, and what the hell is happening here? So, are Miranda and Jody a thing? Because I very heavily thought it was implied last episode that the two are a couple. But if they are a couple, why is Chase hitting on Miranda here? And why is Miranda encouraging Chase to hit on her? What? So Chase here blames himself and also says he doesn't blame anyone else. But that's not to say it doesn't bother him. It clearly bothered him enough to bring it up because if it were nothing, he wouldn't have said anything. But it's the two hitting on each other that really kinda just confuses the hell out of me. If her and Jody are currently a thing, I kinda hate both Chase and Miranda. I don't even like Jody, but this is shady as fuck. Or maybe I interpreted it wrong and they're not dating. So if they're not dating, then that's fine and it's on me. But if they are, y'all got some explaining to do. Then there was the ether. Now I gotta talk about Valentina being gender fluid. Should this be a topic of conversation? It shouldn't be, and it technically isn't. But in my opinion, it was not a good scene, so it has to be. So there are a few reasons I think this ended up not being a good way of revealing this. And that's the key word, revealing. It's irrelevant that she is gender fluid. Cool, it's a part of her character, whatever. It's all about how it was done. First, the whole setup to reveal to the audience that she is gender fluid is based on the fact that she uses a male avatar in a virtual reality game. What? What does changing your gender, or just race, or even your species inside of a video game tell about anyone? Nothing. It doesn't tell anything because you could literally be whatever you want.
You like smooth
So, in my opinion, that wasn't a good setup. What I also questioned is, this is a futuristic world. It takes place in 2072, and you're telling me that gender fluidity still isn't normalized and is at a point which it still must be explained what it means. 53 years into the future, and it's not normal? It very easily could have normalized it, treated as though it was just an accepted thing that everyone knew about. But it comes off so hard, like Rooster Teeth trying to say to everyone that they're progressive. Where's Flo when you need her? But they're still regressive by calling so much attention to it. They want to treat it as though it's completely normal, but they're doing the exact opposite by treating this character completely different because she is different, and they want you to know that she is different. It may not be in a negative light, but it's still manipulative for a company to do, and many companies try to do it and bank on the PR it'll give them. In my opinion, things like this hamper whatever progressive stance you're trying to make with how regressive you still treat them. I've seen enough Disney Channel original movies to know that all anyone ever wants in the world is to be treated exactly like everyone else, despite their gender, despite the color of their skin. All you have to do is not treat them differently than anyone else. Why question her and not question McCloud? She's literally a rabbit thing. What does that say about her? Apparently, it doesn't say anything about her because the characters didn't feel the need to call attention to that fact. Is she a furry? I mean, that's another slot on the representation bingo card that they haven't done yet, so who knows? Does it matter if she's a furry? No, but if you're gonna question one person for not being themselves, you gotta question all of the others. If you don't, then it's clear you're pushing a specific motive. The problem is it's working on modern day politics and outlooks, which it shouldn't necessarily be doing. It's the future. Why is no one questioning the fact that Chase is a black man? Why is no one questioning the fact that Val, Yaz, and McCloud are women in the military? Maybe it's because we've moved past those times where they're not seen as weird or questionable, and you don't need to explain these things because they're outdated and understood. And I feel as though the show should have just rolled with that. I get it, being gender fluid isn't a thing that's really understood in modern day, but Genlock doesn't take place in modern day. None of the characters are calling attention to the fact that they're all of different ethnicities. It's just a detail that exists and can be appreciated and doesn't need to be a topic of conversation between the characters. End statement. On the other hand, in case you missed it, Chase's sister was also there very briefly calling out for her brother. I mean, as an audience, I'm sure we all knew they were alive. You don't see that power walk towards the camera and think, yep, they died. Chase certainly believes that they're dead. I don't know why. Clearly, she's doing just fine to log back into her virtual reality game. It didn't quite look like she was there looking for him. To me, it seemed more like she saw him right before the attack. Where this goes, I don't know, because we don't know anything about his mom or his sister, or what they do, or where they went. Chase didn't see her, so it's not like he can do anything about it. It was just some small, quick setup that was good. So with that done, they get deployed on their first mission. They don't exactly know what it is, but oh well. So after taking down some Union grunt and tech, McCloud ends up getting faced with a robot thing. So McCloud gets pulled into combat first. That's unlucky, and she gets her head ripped off. Jesus Christ. She doesn't die though, and everyone jumps in to assist her and shoo this thing away. First, the action still has yet to disappoint. I've loved every action sequence so far, so long as it's not a flying sequence. But seeing Ida use the vehicles as weapons was hilarious and awesome, and he's finally gotten some time to shine and actually fight. Yes, he still crashed like a bumbling buffoon, but apparently he's really good at fighting. Val's stealth thing I do still consider weird in the grand scheme of things, but it's a position the team needs. In my opinion, McCloud was a bit too ditzy when Chase was telling her to fire at the thing, and Chase and Yaz obviously kicking ass and taking names. As for what the hell this thing is, Union, obviously, still don't know anything about them. But to me, my first impression of this thing was a Genlock or something incredibly similar. The thing I took immediate notice of was how after it ripped off Kami's head, it began tearing into her chest, going after a specific part as though it knew exactly what it was looking for. Earlier I mentioned how I would get back to the topic of the brain. And yes, while their human bodies have that more obvious brain, I was wondering whether or not this is the Holland's brain. This is the thing that they need to make sure remains protected. I currently believe so. Surely they have a way to be killed when they're in their Hollands. McCloud's pain also made me question a moment from episode 1. You see, in that episode, Yaz literally gets impaled, and yet it doesn't seem to have bothered her at all, as if there was no pain. Now, she could have absolutely just tanked the pain and walked it off as though it was nothing, but even I, as someone whose favorite character is Yasmin, thinks that's a bit much. Getting impaled in the stomach and ripping it out with ease, that's not normal. That's not an, oh, I've trained for this. So I question either why does McCloud feel pain, or why didn't Yasmin? In my opinion, not feeling pain would be the preferable option. And of course, Weller and Marin seem to know what's up with the Union and this robot thing. Wouldn't be drama without secrets. As I was talking about, I do think this is either some prototype or knockoff version of Genlock, or something similar. Because despite Weller and how much I actually do like him, as much as he talks about his creation and how cutting edge it is and all the good it can do, and he'll be known for his creative genius, my mind always goes to the exact opposite. Yes, you can be known and go down in history for all these great things, but what if the reverse happens? What if you go down as the man who created the technology that helped wipe everyone out. Because while Genlock does appear to be in its very early stages of creation, we don't know exactly when it is Weller began this project, or if he was the only one who was working on it. Could have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Who's to say this isn't some past test subject whose neural image was lost and he corrupted into this, if that's even possible. But whatever this thing is, it clearly knows something and is after something specific. Once again, I wish the Union wasn't this faceless group. I just want something. All in all, Genlock has been pretty damn solid. McCloud has had a surprising amount of the spotlight, if I'm being honest. Not that I'm complaining. Her and Ida building the best of friendships right now. I love that Ida's showing playing his guitar and is a cook. Action has yet to fail. The story seems to be playing out very naturally, although I still think they should have given us something about the Union earlier, and I do think at times it's trying way too hard to show that it's being progressive. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.